There are a number of reasons why strong brands fail. And one of those reasons has to do with you failing to commit enough time, talent, and resources to build a strong corporate culture blueprint. Now, that corporate culture must stand on two important pillars. Pillar one speaks about the corporate culture intention, and pillar two speaks about the corporate culture expectations. When you combine these two, it represents the impact that your corporate culture is going to be having on the workforce, the impact the corporate culture is going to be having on the specific target market, the impact the corporate culture will have on the general public, and by extension, the impact your corporate culture will have on the cash flow potential of the organization. We at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we have made this a study. Why? Because we want to ensure that we are providing the ecosystem that truly allow businesses that has the potential to grow, scale, diversify, and integrate across market a fair opportunity to do so. So I encourage you to reach out to us today and let's start that conversation that will change the perspective in how you do business and really put you on a platform where you can scale with local, regional, and international relevance. See you on the other side. The first thing is that myself and my companies, we have been able to do a deep analysis into the reasons and factors that are contributory to successful brands falling off of the market. In this regard, we have studied those businesses and we have studied successful brands. We have studied companies from the top 100 that are earning between 6 billion US annually to 120 billion US dollars on a yearly basis. Coming out of that research, we have developed a number of theses that are designed to give business owners, business leaders, a fighting chance, a better chance to succeed in business. And today I want to discuss 3 of those theses that we have developed. So in today's broadcast, we will briefly look at the 3 theses. One is titled The 6 Ecosystem of Successful Brands. We will also be looking at the System Value Proposition 101 and also the 10X Wealth Leadership Blueprint. I want to say to you that each of these theses or ecosystem that we have studied, they are relevant to you to be used in the day-to-day life of your business. So this program is largely for the entrepreneur or the aspiring entrepreneur. So if you're in business and you intend to get into business, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Press that notification bell. So you will be the first to get these programs that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including my last book, which is titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, the Psychology of Doing Business. And my word is to you, you don't want to miss out on this book. Some of the concepts that we will be discussing today, the thesis titled The 6 Ecosystem of Successful Brand, the System Value Proposition 101, and 10X World Leadership Blueprint. The information is documented in that book. So I begin today's discussion by looking briefly at what we're going to call the 6 ecosystem of successful brands. One of the first ecosystem that we have designed is the ecosystem that we are calling proactive leadership ecosystem. Now, this is leadership with a twist. It is leadership with a face. And every entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, you need to put yourself in a position of strength where you can learn, apply, and master these essential leadership techniques. Now, on this platform, you will be taught about what it takes to be a proactive leader. You will be taught about what it takes to be a leader who thinks ahead, a leader who sees beyond problem, and a leader who is able to take informed action to achieve desired results. And of course, in today's competitive world of doing business, in today's unpredictable world of doing business, you need to be able to think ahead. For example, you're introduced to unique concepts, and these concepts give birth after we saw how devastating the pandemic was to millions of businesses across the world. We see many businesses had to close their door and lay off their staff. Not that it was their intention of doing this, but they were forced to do this, largely because global economies were closing down, cash flow were drying up, and they began to panic as to where the cash flow is going to come from for them to, continue to pay their staff. Of course, in some parts of the developed world, they were introduced to things like paycheck protection program. But many developing and middle-income economies, those companies did not have the luxury of benefiting from that kind of intervention. So as we talk to you about the proactive leader and the process of thinking ahead, we're talking to you about things like your corporate paycheck protection program. We're talking to you about things like your corporate cash flow protection program. So we have 2 things here: corporate cash flow and corporate paycheck protection program. Along with this, we're talking to you about the personal paycheck protection program. Now, these are important theses and talking points that you want to put yourself in a position of strength to be able to think ahead. Because when the traditional cash flow begins to dry up because of natural or man-made disaster, you want to know that you have a game plan, that you have a blueprint that sets the stage to cushion the negative effects from those man-made or natural occurring disasters. This is a very unique program that really positions you to think ahead in all aspects of the organization. Now, we know that perhaps thinking ahead is something that most people can do. But from experience, what we have seen is that as great leaders position themselves to think ahead, without the right environment, they tend to see the problems as they think ahead. What this program also does, it provides you with a systematic approach that allows you to see beyond the problem. All right? And for example, the average person might want to say, okay, if we are talking about things like, cash flow protection, there's going to be a barrier to do that. If we're talking about paycheck protection, are you saying that the company should take its profit and put its profit back into the paycheck protection program? Of course not. That's not what we're saying. We're saying to you that if you are to subject yourself to certify public accountants, if you are to subject yourself to PFA, professional financial advisors and personal financial advisors, you may be surprised to see the number of innovative approaches that can be used in developing, one, your corporate cash flow protection, and two, your corporate paycheck protection. And by extension, looking at things like helping your employees to have their personal paycheck protection program. So in the event of natural or man-made disaster, your company is 5 steps ahead because you have gone through this think tanking and brainstorming process, and you are now quite ahead of the game when it comes to thinking ahead and seeing beyond problems. Now, once you bring yourself to this point to think ahead, every leader should be able to do this quite easily, to see beyond problems. The next step is to be able to take informed action to achieve the desired result. You see, it's not enough to just say that let's talk about corporate cash flow protection, or let's talk about corporate paycheck protection. But it is equally important that as you think about it, as you see beyond the problems, that you must be able to take informed action to achieve a desired outcome. So here is where your PFA, your professional financial advisors, your personal financial advisor will, come into the mix, and they will be able to discuss with you a number of financial management systems. And this has everything to do with how much you understand about capital markets and how well you understand how to leverage those capital markets. And in the words of Caribbean, is how to milk the market to cash flow maximize. Now, if any of you have been following me for any time, you should be quite familiar with the approach that we use in discussing capital market. We discuss capital market portfolios. We discuss capital market access. We discuss capital market leverage, and we discuss capital market mitigation. And every single one of these steps are absolutely necessary, and it is absolutely important. And what it does, it gives you, the entrepreneur, a tremendous competitive advantage financially. Because in this case, you are not only aware of capital portfolios, capital market portfolios, but you understand how to access those markets. You understand how to up-level those markets, and you understand how to mitigate debt. And it is the knowledge, this combined knowledge, that allows you to mitigate debt, that can put you in a position to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars in your debt portfolio. Now that is one system that can be used where you allow the capital gain here to go back on the strategic asset management for what we're going to call the corporate cash flow protection program. That's only one technique that can be used. There is 101 other techniques that can be used to ensure that your company, your brand, is built out in such a way that it is cash flowing beyond its primary source of income. And of course, these are new, innovative financial strategies that we're using at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York. We encourage you to come join us and engage with us with a free consultation so we can get into the details of all of it. So this is one ecosystem which we call the proactive leadership ecosystem, where we introduce you to this unique leadership ecosystem that really gives you a competitive advantage. For us, we believe that you as an entrepreneur, what this does, it gives you the kind of security that you need to do business, because you feel safe, you're not worried about the primary source of income. That is a big boost to the profitability, because you also have a secondary that may be a passive or or some other form of performing assets for you. But it also allows you to give the kind of security to your employees. We often say that our employees and the team is a part of the family. This system, the proactive leadership ecosystem, really gives you the opportunity to prove this. And the reality of this, it does not have to cost you an arm and a leg. And on the strategic asset management, it don't have to cost you anything. All right. So we'll be happy to share these information with you as you expose yourself and your team to these unique management systems that we are introducing to you. We call this the 6 ecosystem of successful brands. And even some of the top 100 companies in the world, they are doing these things. They understand how to do these leverages. And we now want to bring this information to you. Now, there's a second ecosystem that we talk about. And of course, the 3 areas that I just talked about in the proactive leadership ecosystem is not exhausted at all. I can go much deeper into this ecosystem. But what I will do, I will just say some when we are doing our group sessions, or when we are doing one-on-one sessions with corporate leaders, we will then roll out this program in much more details. The second ecosystem that is important to consider is the one that we call the corporate culture ecosystem. I believe that every organization begins with, essential leadership skills. You want your leaders to be thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, being able to take informed action to achieve desired results. When this is done, and this is done right, this entire body can now be collapsed into what we call the corporate culture ecosystem. Because here is where the finance department, they know how to think ahead and see beyond problems and take informed action to achieve desired results, because your finance department is not only responsible for income and expenditure and looking at the balance sheet. They are also tasked with the responsibility of understanding debt capital market and equity capital market, and perhaps the credit capital market, and knowing exactly how to leverage these financial platforms to give your business a competitive advantage. Of course, you want to ensure that they're thinking ahead in all of these areas. So we work with them to ensure that you have that competitive advantage. Your human resource department, you want them to be forward thinking. You want them to be able to think ahead, see beyond problems, and take informed action to achieve desired results. This, and only this, is what's going to be able to help you to achieve the competitive advantage across the board. And of course, when all of these systems are applied to all of the strategic leaders in the organization, because you have the strategic, tactical, and operational team players, when this is built out and can be applied to all of those players, it is now easy to collapse all of this into the corporate culture ecosystem. Now, when we speak of the corporate culture ecosystem, we are talking about your corporate culture ecosystem and how that ecosystem is built out to impact the workforce, to impact the specific target market, to impact the general public, and by extension, impact the cash flow potential of your organization. And these are essential talking points as any serious corporate leader begins to amplify conversation around the corporate culture. How is that corporate culture designed to impact the workforce? Are you speaking to the issue of partial self-actualization, where you have the best programs that is going to help the human resource to peak, the human resource manager to peak, the public relation manager to peak, the branding and marketing manager to peak in terms of how they go about product innovation, product diversification, what does the corporate culture say about all of these different things? Of course, we have a dynamic team of persons that's going to work with your team to ensure that we nurture them to become the global thinkers, the social actors, the transformational leaders, to ensure that they become the dream makers, the game changers, and the trendsetters. And all of this is going to help in building out your corporate culture. So you want to make impact at a workforce. You want to make impact at a specific target market. Why? Because what you want to achieve with your corporate culture, with your brand, this ecosystem must allow you to understand what is that blueprint to impact the customer and to ensure that you build out a strong system, a strong culture that really encourage you to achieve customer life. Do you have this blueprint in front of you? That blueprint that says that this is my target market. These are their dreams, hopes, and aspirations. This is their lifestyle, culture, social class. These are the groups and reference groups. And based on these market analytics, we're now going to build out a blueprint that is going to impact them. A blueprint that is going to speak to their needs, wants, and expectations, and possibly go way above their needs, wants, and expectations. So it sets that stage for you to achieve several things. You achieve brand confidence, brand trust, and brand credibility in the eyes of the target market. Do you have this blueprint? And of course, these are things that we go deep into this to really ensure that you're getting it. And the unique thesis that is going to help you with this is the System Value Proposition 101. It's a beautiful program. And I want to say every single ecosystem that you will be introduced to, they are relevant, all right? They're applicable to everything that you do in business on a day-to-day basis. All of the unnecessaries, they are taken out. Everything that you will be introduced to, they are relevant, all right? So there's so much for us to talk about with these three ecosystems. Ecosystem one, we talk about the 6 ecosystem of successful brand. And under this ecosystem, there are 6 ecosystems for you to learn. So far, I've only spoken about 2. It will take me many, many years to do that deep dive and go into this. However, along with this ecosystem, you will also be introduced to another concept that we call the System Value Proposition 101. And here is where you will walk with this stands at 8 pillars. And you need to know this. All right. This one teaches you everything about getting out your brand traits. It teaches you everything about ensuring that you have a blueprint for that brand trait. This is what I was just talking about here. The ecosystem that talks about the corporate culture, you know, and the brand trait correlates, all right? It correlates, they complement each other. And we go deep into this to ensure that we helping you to build out the organization culture to achieve impact across the board: workforce, target market, public, cash flow, the bottom line of the organization. You need to have the blueprint for all of these different things. So today, I'm just whetting your appetite a little bit on these unique theses that we have developed. I want to say to you, you don't want to miss it. Let me speak a little bit now about the System Value Proposition 101. What exactly is the System Value Proposition 101? Now, System Value Proposition 101 stands on 8 pillars, and they are a number of systemization processes that it is subjected to. so as to ensure that you have transparency, you have consistency, you have accountability, you have scalability, you have traceability, you have transferability with this unique ecosystem. Now, if you're going into business, it is absolutely necessary for you to stop and ask yourself, what is your value proposition? What is your corporate culture? And some of the things that you learn from the get-go is that in building out your value proposition and in building out your, the corporate culture, you want to understand, build this out in such a way that you can identify essential characteristics in your value proposition and in your corporate culture. You need to build it out in such a way that you can see the traits and characteristics of all of this. It's important to keep in mind that two things must stand out as you build out the value proposition, as you build out the corporate culture. And to make this simple, we say that there's two things that you must consider here. What is the value proposition intention? And what is the value proposition expectation? And there must be a balance and equilibrium between this. Now, let me just explain this a little bit. Every entrepreneur gets into business, and what becomes clear from the get-go is that they're into business to cash flow maximize. But this is all about your expectations. But you don't get to your expectations unless you master the art of the brand intention. The brand intention is all about your ability to add value and your ability to fix problems. And we go deep into this so as to ensure that you have a clear mental picture as to how to play this game of adding value and fixing problems, and doing so good at it that you were able to do this way above the target market expectation. So there's a number of things that we look at here. And of course, you cannot do this well and effectively enough unless you really take the time to understand your target market, the needs, wants, and expectations. And to ensure that as you build out the brand traits is being built out in complete alignment to their dreams and hopes and aspirations. Your expectation can represent several things. Your expectations can be to make, to grow and scale and diversify your business. It can be to integrate your business locally, regionally, and beyond. And your expectation can also be to cash flow maximize. And of course, there's no problem with this. All right, no problem with this. But what we say to all of our clients is that this is run zero. All right, understanding your business straight, understanding your value proposition. It's ground zero. Why? Because it is very hard for an honest marketing manager, branding and marketing representative to brand, develop the branding material unless this is there. You see, one of the first things we go very deep in is to ensure that those brand traits are well established. So when it comes to the blueprint 2, which is brand visibility blueprint, you need to have your brand visibility blueprint. You have all of the essential brand traits to then build out into that communication process. And of course, the brand visibility blueprint takes into consideration a number of things. Your advertising copywriter must be able to interpret the brand traits, all right, the value proposition. And in developing this dear brand traits, you want to be honest with it, because it is honesty and integrity in this regard that will allow you to easily build out confidence, trust, and credibility. You want to be honest with this. And as you take this data and you subject it to your advertising copywriter, it is then now built out in such a way to be filtered into the brand visibility machinery. And this includes radio, television, newspaper, social media platforms. And of course, it's not just randomly putting your advertising content, your visibility content out there. You have to be able to apply what we call the dash mark of marketing. You want to define the advertising objective. You want to, so you can measure the advertising results that you're getting. Define what you want to accomplish, measure it. And of course, there are things that we will talk to you about when it comes to that. Now, if you're not doing this, it means that you might be wasting hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions of dollars in the advertising process, because visibility does not necessarily mean reach. And if you're not reaching the specific target market, you're not creating impact. And if you're creating limited impact or no impact at all, you're not optimizing brand conversion. If you're not optimizing brand conversion, you're limiting the cash flow potential of the brand. So these are important tenets of this system that we go into. And as you can see so far, every single thing that I've discussed, it is relevant to the day-to-day life of your business. So these are things that we will go very deep into them as we begin to unlock these business success ecosystems for you. So today I trust that I just whet your appetite enough on some important information that is well documented in my new book, 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, The Psychology of Doing Business. And our organization, which is Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we are going to be teaching from this new book that we have written. So businesses across the world, this is relevant to you. Along with this, I didn't get to talk today about the 10X of leadership blueprint. This blueprint will literally be showing you how to 10X your income, the business income potential. All right, and so much more. Of course, today we look very briefly at the 6 ecosystem of successful brands. We also look at the system value proposition 101. And we briefly talk about the 10X wealth leadership blueprint. And I want to say that this is something that you need to commit the time, the talent, and the resources to understand. Just to give you a sneak preview into the 10X Wealth Leadership Blueprint. One of the very first concepts that you introduced here is the concept that we call the financial planner's game plan. Again, the financial planner's game plan, every entrepreneur or anyone who wants to attain financial success, you should understand this. Because one of the things that we see is that you set financial goals, but many persons never get beyond the financial goal. Or many persons, small, businesses, you set your financial targets. But there are many things that you must consider when you are setting that financial target. Because again, money just doesn't come to you, all right? Money just doesn't appear to satisfy your expectations unless you can match it with your intention, all right? So these are some essential elements of financial goal setting that we go into with you. You must understand the intention of the goal. You must understand the expectations of the goal. But then you carry you over to something that is even more profound. We introduce you to what we call the 5 levels of visualization, financial visualization. And once you can learn this and you can apply this and you can master this, it will change the whole dynamics around how you set financial goals and how you go after it. In the first level of the visualization process, we go deeper into brainstorming and think tanking. And this is something that you want to be able to master. But then we talk a whole lot about developing the master plan. And as you develop the master plan, you want to build the right habits around that master plan. And there's so much more that we go into. Now, the financial planner's game plan stands on 9 important pillars. The first one is financial goal setting. The second is timelining, financial timelining. And the third is, financial game planning. But if you notice so far, the things that we have talked about at the beginning can fall within the game plan. So we collapse some of that back into the game plan, because from getting out of the game, we want you to have the right perspective. So by the time you get to level 3, you already got that information, you collapse it and you refine that process and you advance the thought process there. And then we bring you into something that we call team dynamics, because in many cases, entrepreneurs do this, and sometimes you go after your success, me, myself, and I. That's a slow way in getting nowhere. And the private individuals, sometimes they do this. Say you set your goal, and your resolution, and it's all about me, myself, and I. We try to break you out of that mindset and bring you into a mindset where you understand the importance of team dynamics and team management. And once you get this and get this right, and one year show you, your life will start to change tremendously, both professionally and personally. So there are another concept that you will learn here is what we call the WBS, the work breakdown structure. And this is very important, because very often you set the goal, you set the timeline, you develop the game plan, you identify your team dynamics, but you never collapse all of this into the work breakdown structure. Now, what is the work breakdown structure? The work breakdown structure allows you to identify every single step that has to be taken in making that financial goal that you have set yourself, or whatever goal that you have set yourself, to become real. All right. So let's take, for example, it takes you about 3 months, 3 to 4 months to build a house. But do you understand every step in that building process? You understand that you have to dig the foundation. What do you have to get? You have to get sand, you have to get stone, you have to get steel. You have to get the right labor, the right expertise. You have to have the builder's plan drawing. All of these things are things that you need for that building to be completed in a given period of time. The same principle applies to building that building. That's an objective goal that you've set yourself. But the same principle applies to financial goal setting. The reason that you have 1% or less than 5% of the global population who are successful financially is because they have this blueprint. They apply this blueprint and they master this blueprint. And the majority of other persons out there, you don't understand it. You don't know it. Our mission is to bring this to you. Whether you're in business or whether you're the average individual who wants to achieve more financially, and to bring it to you in such a way that it is user-friendly, it can be applied instantly, and you can start to see results in a reasonable period of time. The other thing that I must say to you is that success is not instant. A baby wasn't born in a day. It takes 9 months for that baby to reach maturity. And it takes quite some time also for them to grow and to learn and refine their sense of self. The same principle applies to your business. And as we talk about business have about a 5-year break-even point. But of course, there are ways in which you could fast-track that process. And when you apply these blueprints, these ecosystems that we've given to you, it will definitely give you a chance to fast-track the positive results that you're going for in both business and life. So I'm going to stop here today. There's so much that I can talk about in relation to these content. It will take me quite a lifetime to talk about them. They're very deep, but I want to show that they're very effective and they can be applied to the life of your business instantly and your personal life also. So today we look at the 6 ecosystem of successful brands. We also look at the system value proposition 101, and we just look at some elements of the 10 expert leadership blueprint. And again, as I said to you, this is us scratching the surface, because the financial planner's blueprint or the financial planner's game plan is only one of the 5 ecosystems that could be found under this heading. You have the pathways to wealth blueprint. You have the proactive leadership blueprint. You have the, this one is pretty interesting as we talk about the pathways to wealth blueprint, and as we talk about the wealth leadership blueprint. Wealth leadership is very profound, because this one we go do a very deep dive into the debt capital market, the equity capital market, the credit capital market, and the smart capital market. And so these are things you don't want to miss out on. They're unique, they're different, and they're all designed to give you that fighting chance to succeed in business and to succeed in life. So I trust that you enjoyed today's podcast, and I do look forward to bringing more of this information to you in the not too distant future. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Manager's Toolkits and Billionaire Codes. And my last book is titled The 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, The Psychology of Doing Business. And you don't want to miss out on this book. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Press that notification bell so you will be the first to get this information that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. Be blessed and be safe. See you in the next broadcast. There are a number of reasons why strong brands fail. And one of those reasons has to do with you failing to commit enough time, talent, and resources to build a strong corporate culture blueprint. Now, that corporate culture must stand on two important pillars. Pillar one speaks about the corporate culture intention, and pillar two speaks about the corporate culture expectations. When you combine these two, it represents the impact that your corporate culture is going to be having on the workforce, the impact the corporate culture is going to be having on the specific target market, the impact the corporate culture will have on the general public, and by extension, the impact your corporate culture will have on the cash flow potential of the organization. We at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we have made this a study. Why? Because we want to ensure that we are providing the ecosystem that truly allow businesses that has the potential to grow, scale, diversify, and integrate across the market a fair opportunity to do so. So I encourage you to reach out to us today and let's start that conversation that will change the perspective in how you do business and really put you on a platform where you can scale with local, regional, and international relevance. See you on the other side.